Hello everybody, welcome back to Awesome Crafter. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how we're going to make these amazing personalised tote bags. I've made this one say Mum with names through the middle and stars, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to share with you all my tips and tricks on how to make that today. So to get ready and to get started, we are going to be using a Cricut maker to cut the heat transfer vinyl. We're going to stick it on the green standard grip mat. We've got a weeding tool, we've got some scissors and a ruler to measure the placement on the bag. We've obviously got a tote bag and we're going to heat press it using the Cricut Easypress. First of all, we need to head over to Design Space to start designing our name. Now that we're onto our blank canvas, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the text icon, and in there I'm just going to type in the word Mum because that's the word that I'm going to use today. Now, as you can see here, the font is set to Cricut Sans. I'm going to change that because the font I used here was Arial Black. Perfect, and as you can see now it's there, so I'm just going to click on that and that's going to change the font of the word Mum, which is exactly what we want. Now we need to alter the size. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up to the top of the size box and I'm going to change it so it makes it 10 inches wide because that's how wide I want it to fit on the front of my bag. Now we have the word Mum, that's absolutely perfect. So we're just going to raise that up to the top and I'm just going to leave that there for a moment because now I need to type in the names that I want to be inside the word Mum for this particular bag. So I'm going to click on the icon again and the first name I'm going to type in is Ryan. And we're just going to move that name down like that. And I'm going to click on again. And now I'm going to type in Felicity. And we're going to do the same again. And we're just going to move that name to there. And repeat it again and type in Poppy. And finally, I'm going to type in the name Kobe. As you can see now, they're pretty big, them names. So again, I'm going to change the font and I'm going to change the size of all of those. So I'm going to start with the name Ryan. And for these, I used Arial Rounded. So I'm going to type in Arial Rounded and click enter. And there you can see it. And then for these, I need to change the size. But until I'm ready to put them into my name, I'm not sure on the size, so I'm just going to leave that for now. So I'm going to change the font on Felicity as well, and as you can see it's already there, so we'll do that. Then we're going to click on Poppy, click on the font, and it's still up there, so we're just going to click on Arial Rounded there, and the same with Kobe. And there we go, that's changed all of my fonts. I need to insert the names into my word Mum. To make this easier, I'm going to change the colour of the word Mum to white and I'm going to leave the names black for now. So I'm going to take the name Ryan, and as you can see it's way too big, so we're just going to use the little arrow handle in the corner and we're just going to shrink that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spin it around so the name is going to fit in just into there, and we're just going to shrink it again because I want it to fit into the start of the word Mum. Need to make it a little bit smaller because we need to make sure that it's going to cut it out right. We don't want any pieces chopped off. So there we go, that's perfect. Now I'm going to do the same with Felicity. I'm going to take that one, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to shrink it down to make it more manageable. Then we're going to spin it round. So I'm going to pop Felicity on this side of the letter M, like so. We can readjust them in a minute when we're a bit further on. I'm going to do the same again with Poppy. Just going to move Kobe out of the way. So I'm going to put Poppy's name on the letter U. So again, I'm just going to spin it round, shrink it down, pop that in there. That fills that space up quite nicely, like so. And then finally we've got Kobe, so we're going to shrink that down again, spin it around, and I think I'll pop his name down the centre of the final letter M. Now we have all our names positioned in there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my stars. So I'm going to click on the shapes and I'm going to select the star shape. And to get started, I'm just going to change the size. So it's 0.5, click the tab key, and then as you can see, it's changed the size. And there we have our starting point for our star. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the star and I'm just going to duplicate that. We're going to need several of these little stars to fill in the spaces on the letter mum that's going to go on the bag. But we can always duplicate more as we go along. So as you can see now, we've got quite a few. So we'll start positioning them on our name, on our letters, and then we can always duplicate a few more as we go along. So I'm just going to pop some in, just placing these randomly wherever you think you might like them to be. And on some, I'm just going to overlap them slightly, so they're like sticking over the edge of the letters as well, because I think that gives it quite a good effect as well. So I've used up pretty much all of my big stars. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to fill in some of the empty spaces here with some smaller ones. So we're just going to choose one and we're going to double click on it again and we're just going to duplicate, and we'll have a few more. Now we've got quite a few more duplicated stars. I'm just going to pop these around, but what I'm going to do is when I've got them in position, I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller, just so that all the stars aren't all the same size and we can just fit them into smaller spaces. You just need to position as many or as few into the letters as you wish. When you're happy with the placement of your stars and your names, we're now ready to move on to the slicing part. Now the thing to note with slicing is that you can only slice 2 layers. So we're going to have to do the stars and the names all individually. So it takes a while, but once you get going, it's not too bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight like that the star and the name, and then what we're going to do is we need to head over to the slice button at the bottom and click on slice. At first you think nothing's happened, but it has. So when it all changes, you can see now it's now got a little black line around it and the black star has disappeared. So that means that the star has now been sliced out, and when we move the name mum, it will leave behind all the cut out pieces that we don't need, and we'll just delete all those at the end. Also, as you can see, it's now moved my name mum in front of all of the stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on arrange and I'm just going to send it back to the back. And as you can see, it's showing now that we've done that one because it's changed the colour of it. So now we're ready to move on to the next one. So now I'm going to highlight the name Ryan, and it will highlight over the word mum as well, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So now I've highlighted the both and the slice button is highlighted, so we're going to click on slice, give it a few seconds to do what it's doing, and as you can see now the name Ryan is there. So we're going to click on mum, and again we're just going to have to send the word to the back, and then we're ready now to do the next star. So we're going to highlight that, click on slice. So we're just going to keep repeating this now until all of the names and all of the stars have been sliced out. I'm going to continue with this and I will see you when they are all sliced. Now we have all our names and stars sliced out. What we can do to make sure that they have all sliced out correctly is we can move the name and you will see what has happened. And basically what we've tried to do is we've tried to use like a cookie cutter, and basically it's cut out the shapes of the stars and it's cut out the names. So what we should be left with is a copy of all of those when we move the word. So what we're going to do is we're going to select that and we're going to just slide the word mum, and if we move it down, as you can see, it's now all in white. So that's where all our stars and names have been cut out, and that's how we can check that it was all done correctly. And then all these ones above, we can just select them all, and we're just going to delete those because we no longer need those. And there we have it. There's our name mum, and there's all our names cut out the middle. Once you're happy that all your stars and names have been cut out, then we're ready to move on to the next stage, and we're ready to head over to the Cricut and prepare our mat for cutting it out. Because I'm using a lovely bright pink bag, I've chose to do black vinyl on mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heat transfer vinyl, and you have to place it the shiny side down. So I'm going to remove the cover off my mat, and we're going to press the vinyl down firmly onto the mat like so. Then we're going to pop it into the Cricut using the arrow key, and that's going to load it. Then we're just going to head back over to Design Space and prepare for cutting. Now we need to head over and we need to press the Make It button. And as you can see now, it's prepared on mat. So because I don't want it to be right up at the edge, I'm just going to move it down slightly because I've got plenty of vinyl. Because we're using heat transfer vinyl, it has to be mirrored. So we're going to click on the little mirror button and it will flip over the name. And then we're going to click on continue. Going to wait for it to find the maker machine. Going to wait for it to find the maker. Now we need to select our materials. So I always choose premium vinyl. And for the pressure, I always select more because there's a few little pieces and we want it to be cut out really well. Now that's all ready, we need to click on the flash in button and that will start cutting. Now that it's finished cutting, we're just going to eject it from the maker. And the best way to remove this vinyl from the mat, I found, is to flip over the mat and carefully peel away the vinyl, and that does prevent it from curling up. So we're going to get that removed. We can pop this away. Then, because I've got a really long piece, we're just going to trim across now and cut it along underneath the word mum. And we can save the rest of our vinyl for another project. And I'm just going to take my weeding tool and I'm going to peel all the excess from around the edge, and I'm going to peel away all the names from the middle and all the stars, and I'm going to get on with that, and I should be back with you when that's all completed. Now we have our fully weeded design, and if we just flip it the right way around, you can see how it's cut out lovely. It's cut out all of our names and it's cut out all of our stars ready. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on our Easypress to start heating up, and we're going to start preparing our mat and our bag ready for heat pressing our design onto it. Now the Easypress is heated up, we're just going to pop it on top of the bag just to heat the bag up slightly, and this will also help to remove any moisture that may be in the bag. We're not going to do it for long, just for about 5 or 10 seconds, but it certainly helps, and it'll help the heat transfer vinyl stick to the bag as well when we're ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, because I want to measure to make sure that my name is quite central to my bag. And I found that if I placed it 16.5 centimetres from the bottom, that positioned it quite nicely. So we're just going to loosely pop that on, and then now we're going to measure and make sure that our design is all in line. I'm just going to measure it 16.5 centimetres. And then I also found that for the width of my design, it needed to be 5.5 centimetres from either side of the bag. So I'm just going to again quickly measure just to make sure that it's central. So now that I've checked and double checked, I'm happy with the placement of my word mum. I'm now going to go ahead and I'm going to press that onto there using the Easypress. So I've got it set to 160 degrees C, and I'm going to do that for 30 seconds. Because my Easypress doesn't cover all of the design in one go, I'm just going to keep moving it around to make sure that it all gets covered over. We're just going to leave that now for a couple of seconds, and then we can check to make sure that it's worked and it's all stuck down. If for any reason it hasn't, then all we need to do is we just need to repress it for another 10 or 15 seconds, and that will secure it more. When I'm peeling mine, I always like to try and peel it from the corner at a 45-degree angle, and that seems to pull it off quite nicely. And as you can see there, that's stuck really well. And then just for a bit of extra security to make sure it has stuck down, what we're going to do now is we're just going to flip over the bag, and we're just going to press it from the back as well, just for about 15 seconds. This helps the heat transfer vinyl adhere to the bag. And there we have it. Now our bag is all complete. And as you can see, it looks absolutely stunning. I really do love these, and they're lovely even if you're making it for yourself, or you could even change the name and you could put sister, auntie, nanny. You could even put your friend's name and their children. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I shall look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye for now.